That's why it's hard adapting a manga panel by panel. Like, it's understandable you need more exposition due to the limited medium, but in animation they have more liberties. But the writers did not care to drift off away from the manga a little more. And to begin with, the manga isn't that good.
Thank you!
Understandably so. Naoko was in a very tight schedule too. Panicked emoji. It has way too much plot holes and issues, and Crystal is proof of that.
This is an explanation. It's not an excuse. Not saying this person is trying to excuse the badness of Crystal and the manga, but for those of you who believe this is an excuse, this reply is for you. As stated previously, every mangaka is under a very tight schedule. To be clear, Naoko only had to do a chapter a month. Many mangaka have to do a chapter a week, hence the title Weekly Shonen Jump. So she didn't even have the same amount of pressure as many other mangaka did, and she still made more mistakes than they did with story and art, by her own admission. Stop trying to excuse her shortcomings as a writer, she just plain stinks. Get over it. And that's okay. So did Toriyama. God rest his soul. The difference between the two is Toriyama was honest about his failings, and most fans of his work will readily admit to the faults in his writing. Naoko, on the other hand, has rabbit-ass manga-worshipping NPCs that have neither the intelligence nor a respect for the craft to recognize everywhere she has messed up. And that's where we get all these dumb-ass arguments, fallacies, and explanations from. You know, the crap we've been going over for most of the video. It's okay to love Dragon Ball and point out where it goes off the rails. It's okay to praise Akira Toriyama for the absolute legend that he was, but recognize his weak points as an artist. It's okay to praise what story beats work in Dragon Ball and criticize the story beats that absolutely do not work. You can do it for literally any story, including Sailor Moon, which is all I've been doing in my videos. But you cannot excuse the bad parts of the work by throwing out all these explanations like they'll shield the thing you like from criticism. Everything in existence is open to criticism. You don't get to have a sacred cow here. You can give all the explanations for poor quality that you want, for whatever subject matter you want. It doesn't matter. Poor quality is poor quality. Calling a spade is not an attack on a work, nor the creator of that work, nor the fans of that work. It's just being objectively honest and real with people. A spade is a spade, and it should be called a spade. Now, when it comes to adapting manga, or any medium into another medium entirely, that comes with challenges, I agree. But that doesn't excuse the poor quality of the adaptation, especially when there are brilliant adaptations of manga to anime that exist. Look no further than One Punch Man Season 1, a gorgeous and faithful adaptation of the redrawn manga. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, a mostly faithful adaptation of the wonderful manga. Jujutsu Kaisen, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Do I really need to keep going? There are countless anime that adapt manga panel for panel and excel. There are countless anime that adapt manga panel for panel and are mid. There are countless anime that adapt manga panel for panel and suck ass. It's not because it's just this impossibly hard thing that no one can ever seem to get right. It's down to the execution. Execution is everything. How the people making the product create the product is what separates the good from the bad. The process in and of itself is not a reason to excuse bullshit creative choices in the writing or in the art. It just isn't. There are countless anime that adapt manga unfaithfully and excel. There are countless anime that adapt manga unfaithfully and are mid. There are countless anime that adapt manga unfaithfully and suck ass. Again, execution is the key here. Execution is everything. When assessing media adaptations, I frankly do not care how faithful it is to the source material. I care about the end product as its own thing, how good the work is on its own merits. The secondary focus is why the specific changes in the adaptation are present and if it improved or damaged the adaptation. Again, as its own thing. I do not use the source material as a metric to judge the objective quality of an adaptation, as that is not a metric that results in the best objective analysis of the work as a standalone piece. For example, if you judge the Lord of the Rings trilogy solely on how faithful an adaptation it is to the novels, you do a disservice to the immense quality of the film trilogy. You miss all the objectively great differences between the two works that enhance the film trilogy's story by avoiding the weaker portions of the book's story. And there are other aspects of the new medium that you'll outright ignore in this assessment that I believe is quite a detriment to the conclusion. Soundtrack, sound design, actors' performances, choreography, cinematography, computer graphics, character design, editing choices, so on and so on. So please understand, I do not use adherence to the source material as a measurement to judge an adaptation. Adaptations are not only allowed to make changes to the source material, they are expected to. Those differences, however, should be judged on their own merits based on how they aid or hurt the adaptation's version of the story. Which is why MaNgA accuracy is not a fucking argument, and it's why I will never entertain it as an argument. It misses the point of my assessments and analysis, and it misses the point entirely. If you, dear viewers and commenters, understand and or agree with my assessments, then please, I encourage you, do not entertain the MaNgA accuracy sentiment from MaNgA stans or Crystal defenders. Just tell them it's not an argument, adherence to the source material does not reflect objective quality, and move on with your life.
That's why it's hard adapting a MaNgA panel by panel. Like, it's understandable you need more exposition due to the limited medium.
You do not need poorly written exposition in MaNgA. You can choose to deliver exposition in creative, subtle, and layered ways. Do not assume that exposition must be directly vomited into the audience's face in this medium. There are infinite possibilities when choosing how to present exposition. Don't underestimate the craft of storytelling when it comes to manga/comics. The best comics in history have done exposition in ways similar to the best films in history. Again, execution is everything. That being said, this commenter does know what they're talking about when it comes to criticizing the manga's story. It indeed is littered with plot holes and issues that Crystal either copies wholeheartedly or somehow makes worse. Hello, double dream sequence in the first f***ing episode and sudden 4 generals romance plot. My point here, and I do hope everyone is paying attention to this part, explanations for poor quality do not excuse the poor quality, nor increase the quality of the product in question. I do not care why something is bad in a meta sense. I care why it is bad in the context of the work itself and how bad it is on a measurable scale. This is why I don't focus on the meta side of Sailor Moon in my analysis videos. I simply look at the work itself and praise or criticize it for what it is currently. I do not go deep into the cultural impact or historical significance of the series. I do not talk about the individuals behind the series. I do not talk about the history of the production of the series, none of that. I look at the end product as an end product, and that's it. I have no interest in receiving a metatextual answer as to how the text came to be. I'm only interested in the quality of the text. Once more for the manga stans dribbling in the back row after riding in on the short bus. Explanations for the poor quality of a product does not magically improve the quality of said product. Stop explaining the history behind the product. I'm only interested in exactly how much the product itself functions or fails on an objective level. Now, I realize I've been doing quite a lot of metatextual discussion in this video, but that's only because people keep jumping out of the text to talk about the meta information surrounding it, and because they're often wrong or believe these metatextual details are somehow more relevant than the quality of the text itself. I have to go out and clarify this stuff before I can jump back into the text where I want to be. When I make the next Sailor Moon analysis videos, I do not plan to bring any any of this metatextual stuff with me, which is why I'm okay with getting into it here. And again, just so I'm being crystal clear, I appreciate this commenter. He's far more intelligent than the average manga stan or crystal defender, and I agree with 90% of what he said. It's just I found certain aspects of his comment disagreeable and interesting enough to serve as a basis to make some broader points I've been wanting to make anyway. So thank you for engaging with my work, thank you for being intelligent and sincere, and I hope to see you again someday. But no, exposition can be pulled off well in the medium of manga. Just look at Berserk. You know, if you're at least 18 and are not faint of heart.